Hello, everybody. This is Capitalist from JoinDota.com. Joining me is going to be Excalibur, the stand-in for Fnatic so far. And first of all, Excalibur, I do have to apologize because you did confront me on this earlier. When you first were ringing for Fnatic, I was like, I have no idea who this guy is. I was like, I don't know, some unknown pub player. When it turns out you were actually top of the leaderboard. How long have you been playing Dota?
I started to play when I was in 4th grade, but then I stopped playing because I started to play other games, like World of Warcraft. That was like the worst part of my life. That was the worst game. And then I started to play Han, and I played StarCraft 2 before I started to play Dota 2. I started to play Dota 2 after TI 2.
And how quickly, I mean, you obviously rose up the leaderboard. Was it a surprise to you when the leaderboard came out and you're like top of the board? Did you ever think about playing competitive at that point?
I wanted, obviously, but I didn't have the experience. So I couldn't really get into like the circle of pro players.
Right, it seems like most of the time getting into a team is actually oftentimes more about who you know than not necessarily how good you are.
Yeah, like the pros prefer to pick the players that they know will perform. Like Fnatic choosing me was a really big risk.
So going into, how exactly did you originally meet? I'm presuming it was a pub that you guys first met. Who was it? Who was it?
It was not immediately after a pub. Fly told me that it was he who recommended me because they were like need a player. So Trixie was like, we should check the top leaderboard to check for who has the highest MMR. And then they saw me, and they asked like if someone knows me. And Fly said he actually met me in a pub where we were behind, and I carried him as Meepo. So then they took contact with me 1.5 weeks ago, actually. That was the first time I actually talked to any one of them. Really? Yeah. Notail wrote to me on Skype, Steam, like very randomly 1.5 weeks ago, and now I'm here.
That is actually an amazing. So I can't even think of a player who's actually had that kind of just quick rise to fame, and you've certainly paid off. I mean, all of your games you've been playing fantastically. Were you nervous, like going into your first major tournament, first major team up against some of the best teams in the world? I got to say, you performed really well. Were you nervous going into that?
I was nervous before the games, but like not when I was playing the games. I was pretty calm actually. Like it's like when I have exams, I feel like I have a stone in my stomach before the actual exam, but while I'm doing it, I'm quite confident actually.
So what are you studying?
I study natural science.
Okay. So, all right, very cool. So going back to the Dota, so you guys talk a little bit about DreamHack. From your perspective, obviously you're still a stand-in, everything like that, but from your perspective, what really went wrong for you guys in this tournament?
I feel like it's the lack of practice really, because before we went to Summit, we just practiced for 2 days, I think. And then we didn't really practice at Summit because no one really wanted to play there. So, and then after Summit, it was just 2 days before DreamHack, so we also just played 2 days before that. And our strats were mostly around Tinker. Like, at least I'm like the most confident with the hero, so it was the easiest to like create strats around. So it was pretty hard when like they tried to ban the hero.
See, that's actually going to be an issue, right? This is something that I talked about some other teams going up against Fnatic, and they're like, we're just going to ban away Tinker. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a test. How confident do you feel in some of your other heroes? Do you feel like maybe some of the other teams are just kind of like, oh, he's just Tinker, Meepo player, and just like everything else is no good? You'll feel confident you can kick ass in all the other heroes that are available?
Actually, I am a mid player. No, I'm not really a carry player. I mean, I play carry-ish heroes mid, but like the heroes I prefer to play are like, I'm a really good TA, but I actually don't get to play the hero because I'm not mid. But like, yeah, I think my best heroes are Tinker and Meepo.
Okay, so Have you had any like contacts with some other teams? Maybe like not necessarily obviously tier 1 teams, they're already set, but some of the teams that aren't going into the international, have you had any offers from them, guys interested in picking you up? Or are you just content to stay as kind of like the 6th man for Fnatic right now?
No, I'm not getting any like offers, but yeah, I'm content with like just being the 6th player for Fnatic right now, because they're like really nice guys. They're like helping me a lot.
So you said you're more of a mid player. Is that a role that you want to actually, when you do find a team, which I'm presuming you are wanting to be able to find a place in an actual 5 position, what position do you want to take? Do you actually want to go back to being that mid role, or are you enjoying kind of expanding your repertoire to carries?
I think I would like to play mid right now, but like if I practice more, I think I might actually prefer carry. Maybe because my heroes are more carry, like the heroes I like to play are more carry-ish. So I don't really know, but like I prefer a lot to lane mid a lot more than safe lane, because you get shut down really easy when they just tri-lane you.
So would you say you kind of fall into that RTZ area where you like to play the mid position, but at the same time, so being that like mid lane carry sort of position, would that be your ideal role?
Yeah, kinda.
Okay, so going back, we're talking about where you came from, talking about where you might be going. I want to get your input on maybe the meta. I felt like, you know, you being not one of the professionals players, I feel like many of the pro players, they get into, oh, let's scrim and this sort of thing, and I don't feel they really reach out to many of the other heroes just because they kind of get set on, you know, that hero, oh, don't worry about that hero, let's not pick that. When they never pick it up, they never really experiment with it. Do you have any sort of like insights that you brought to Fnatic, any way that you've maybe changed their picks, besides the obvious like the tanker pickup? Have you been influencing them in any way?
I've not been participating that much in drafts, just some like, I know that some heroes are good against specific heroes, but like right now the meta is a lot like tanky heroes with a lot of team fights. It's like a lot of group ups and just push.
So earlier I had an interview with Ake, and I asked he said something very similar. Loda said the same thing, which was like these tri-tank lineups, really tanky heroes with big team fight ultimates, just like you said. Ake said his way to deal with it would be maybe picking up a Keeper of the Light and trying to go for a little bit more split push and avoid some of those team fights and just try and stop the push as much as possible. What are your ideas in order to counter this sort of tri-tank that's kind of running the scene right now?
Well, I would pick Tinker if I could.
Of course. So your guys has been like just delay the mid game as much as possible, turtle it out.
The thing is with Tinker, you can just delay the push and then you can still be very effective on the map. Like you just double march, kill the creep wave, and then you can still farm on other lanes. So when you actually have this tri-tank lineup, you want to push the towers, but you kind of just want to fight. But if you group up too much, you just get too far behind in levels and gold.
So basically a very similar idea to Ake, which is you just have to delay the push as much as possible. You get those big abilities that are actually able to stop them from being so aggressive and just try and delay the game out. You have any other ideas?
It's mostly just to be able to delay or stop the push, because they will always want to fight.
Now, what about, I've had a couple of different pro players answer this question. Do you have any like underutilized heroes, the heroes that you think should be seen in the meta, but teams aren't really just picking it up for whatever reason?
I don't know, actually. I think Meepo is one of the strongest heroes in the game, actually, because the hero is naturally tanky. You have 35% magic resistance, and when you get an Axe, you have like 1.5k HP. So, and you do a lot of damage.
And that death timer reduction as well is just extremely obnoxious in the late game.
Yeah, like your death timer is just 70 seconds at default. It's actually really big, because if you just push out all the lanes, unless they just like run through the mid lane, they can't actually push.
Yeah, once you're in an offensive position and say you actually lose that team fight, they can't really punish you as badly, right?
Yeah, exactly, because you just respawn really fast.
All right, so this is something that I've had. This is with the actual players in the team, but as a stand-in, takeaway era, if you were filling that 5th role in Fnatic, marry, fuck, kill, and kick your 4 teammates.
Wait.
And don't look at No Tail. Do not look into his eyes.
What could I choose?
So you basically take your 4 teammates that you've been playing with. So we take away era. We just talk about your 4 teammates you've been playing with, and you have to pick one to marry, pick one to fuck, pick one to kill, and pick one to kick from the team.
This one was super hard. I think
it's okay if you want to say you want to fuck No Tail. I completely understand. He gave me a really good manly hug earlier.
Wait.
We'll start with the easy one. How about marry? Just marry. Who would you marry if you had to pick one of your 4 teammates?
Probably No Tail.
Okay, nice. In which case, who are you fucking though? I mean, both Hani and Fly are total beefcakes. So if you choose one of those guys, I understand.
Probably Hani.
I'm sorry. No Tail's on the ground, just rolling on the ground. He's literally rolling on the floor laughing. That is literally what's happening. He's in a fetal position and he's crying with laughter. Okay, so Hani is who you're going to fuck. You got kill. You either have to kill Trixie or kill Fly, and the other one's going to be kicked from the team.
Well, both of that are really bad. I don't know. I don't know.
You don't want to make a decision. You love them both too much in order to. All right. Well, I can respect that, man. So thanks so much for taking the time to have this interview with us, and good luck in your future endeavors, whether that's you finding a team or also your studies. So thanks again. Do you want to give a shout out to anybody, sponsors, anything like that?
I would like to shout out to Fnatic for giving me this opportunity.
Okay, and what about any other, of course, the team, any other, like, guys that you play with, any, like, human shout-outs?
I would like to give a shout-out to the people who I've been playing with as a team before Fnatic.
Awesome. All right, man. Thanks again. Guys, more interviews coming up. JoinDota.com.